So today we'll be looking into what is data frames, creating some sample data frame, then creating a data frame from clipboard, as well as we'll try to look into how can we display column names, how can we access columns and their elements. Then we'll move on to creating new columns. Then we'll see head and tail functions in Python. Then followed by assigning a values to data frame directly from the code itself, and even we'll try to do the same from the series. Then at last we'll try to delete a column in a data frame. So okay, so first let me talk about what is a data frame. So data frame is basically a two-dimensional table where we'll be having three principal components: rows, columns, as well as the values in there. Okay, so you can imagine this is similar to an Excel table that we have. Okay, and then obviously we'll be having labels for the rows as well as columns, and the size of the data frame can be like changed at any point of time. So that's the data frame. Now let me just quickly create a sample data frame. Show you. So for doing that, we obviously require to import Pandas. From Pandas, we'll import data frame as well as series. So we'll just say import Pandas, and from Pandas, import series. We'll import series because we will be using series as well. Then we'll just data frame. Okay, we'll import Pandas from Pandas. We'll import series as well as data frames. Now let me just quickly, create a new data frame. So I'll just have the data frame in a variable saying new _ data frame, and I'll be using Pandas data frame function to create a data frame, and open parentheses. And here obviously I require to send in the data into the data frame, right? So I'll just use curly brackets, which is like a represents dictionary of the data. So in this dictionary, I'll be having, let's say for this data frame, I want to have two columns with 3 rows of the data. So I'll just say column 1 is my first column, having data of 100, 200, and 300. And let's say I want to have second column having data of, let's say, 400, 500, and 600. Okay, then let me just print the data frame, the data frame that I've created. All right, so let's see what happens. Now you see, so this is a simple data frame that we created. So we specified we will be having like 2 columns, the data. So those 2 column names over here, and we said we'll be having like 3 rows of data. So it is like 100, 200, 300 for column 1, 100, 200, and 300. Column 2, 400, 500, and 600. And labels are 0, 1, and 2. As we haven't specified any labels, we just went by default, index labels. But if you want to have any index labels, then we can just do this. So like we are doing for series, we can just do the same here. We'll just comma after providing the data, and we'll just say index, and we pass in our index value. So let's say I want to have index as A, B, and C. And I'll run this again. Now you can see, now we are having indexes of A, B, and C with the same data available for us. Any doubts as of now? Okay, so this is a simple data frame that you have created. Now next thing is creating a data frame from a clipboard. We'll try to see how can we create a data frame if you're having a copied table in our clipboard. So let me just copy a table, the data set that I'm having. Open the table. It's opening up name, last name, and age. This is simple data that we're having. Let me just copy this out. So I've copied this to my clipboard. I'll come here and I'll just write a code saying I'll just first specify what is my data frame. I'll just say data underscore df. And here I want to do, I want to read that copied table, right? So I'll use pd.read function underscore from where I want to read it from clipboard and place it in this data frame, data underscore df. And then let me just print that one, whatever I've read. So I'll just say data underscore df. I'll just run this. Now you can see we are basically having the table that we copied into our data frame df, right? So there we are having basically first name, last name, as well as age. So we got all those 9 records in here. And obviously you can capture the same data in multiple ways. Like you can just instead of reading from clipboard, you can directly read the Excel file itself. But now we just got it from clipboard. Okay, I'll just close it out. So you can see we're basically having 9 records, and those 9 records were available in our data from df. Any doubts as of now in reading the
Akhil, if you copy data from different clipboard and if you run the same fourth code whichever you have written, will it change?
Yes, if you copy the data from, let's say, website, okay, you copied a table from some website and you run this piece of code, then whatever the table that you copied will come into this data underscore df data frame.
Okay. So for example, instead of printing the full board like first name, last name, and age, if I'm interested in looking at only first name and age, how should I do that?
Yeah, we'll come to that. Displaying columns next. Yeah, that is our next topic. Yeah.
Okay.
So then just see. Let's say now you got the data. Now we just want to see, what are the columns that you're having, and just say print. And let's say we want to see data underscore df data frames columns. So I'll just say columns. I'll run that. Now I can see what are the column names that I'm having in this data frame. The next one would be accessing one or more columns. So, okay. Now this is basically, we'll just say print data. We'll just specify which data frame we want to access from, and then we'll say which column we want to get. Let's say first I want to get the first name. So I'll just say first name, and I'll run this. So now I can see all my first name column records over here. This is accessing one column at a time. Now let's say I want to access multiple. Jairam, you asked for name as well as age, first name as well as age, right? So we'll try to see that. So in that case, we'll say print from data underscore df, that is our data frame, and we will pass a list of column names. So you can see I'm using double square brackets. So second square bracket represents the array. So in this array, I'll say what are the column names that I want to have. So first name as well as age is the one that I want to get. Now I'll run this. Now you can see we're basically printing first name and age. Is that clear, sir?
Yeah. So based on the number of fields, does the number of bracket varies, or like within the two brackets we can mention how many numbers you want?
How many numbers you want? This is just an array, so we can just specify whatever the number whatever the column that you want to access. You can just even specify last name and so on. Okay, in this way we can access one or more columns. Let's say you want to access a particular element itself from this data frame. Let's see how we can do that. So in that case, we'll just use print and to print our data underscore df, and we use at function over here to basically print a specific element from this data frame, and we'll pass in first our index, which is the row ID of sorts. So let's say I want to print first index age. Okay, then I'll say 1 comma age. Now I'll just run this, and you can see 25 is displaying, right? So first index age, so it's just giving us a 25 as output. In this way you can access a particular element from a data frame. Okay, then moving on to the next one is creating a new column. So let's say now we want to create a new column. Let's say we just say we want to create a new column, says it's a new column itself. So I'll just say new data frame, and I'll say new column. That is my column name I want to have. And if you remember, we are not having that particular new column field in our data frame, data underscore data df, right? So now I'll just say, and I want to, now when we specify that particular new column, so what this Python will do is it basically creates this new column, and it will assign whatever the value that you pass in here. So let's say you want to have a new column with value of 1 overall. Then we'll just say run. Okay, now along with that, let me, now I've run that. I'll print it, data underscore df. Now you can see a new column, whatever I specified got created, and it's basically having 1 value in it, because that is what we specified, right? In this new column, you just assign 1 value. In this way, you basically can create a new column. Then we'll look into head and tail function. So head function basically gives you first 5 rows of the data frame. Tail function will basically gives you last 5 records of the data frame. So let's see how we can use that. So data underscore df, then we'll say dot head, and we'll print. So now you can see we basically having first 5 records of the data underscore df by using head function. Now let's say, let's look into how we can do that using tail. Now I was using tail function. Sorry, it's underscore. And you can basically see we are getting the last 5 records of the data frame. Any doubts as of now?
By any chance, can we change it to more than 5 or dynamically?
I'm not sure, but I'll get back to you about that.
No, you can do that. Just give that a number of rows as a parameter in that function.
Okay.
Tail give some 7 or something. Yeah, do that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you. Right. And let's move on to assigning values to a data frame directly as well as from series. Okay. So we'll use the same data frame and we'll try to assign a value to it. So let's say I want to assign a value into a new column, some custom values that I want to have. So I'll use data underscore df, that is my data frame, and in which column I want to assign value. I want to assign value into new column that I've recently created. Okay, then I'll just say what are the values I want to place in. So I'll pass in an array and I'll just say 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then I'll just print the data frame. I'll run that. Now you can see the values that we are assigned directly into this new column got placed into the data frame. In this way, you can directly assign it from an array. Now let's see if we want to do the same using series. We'll try to see how we can do that. So for that, first let's create a series. S1 equal to series, and let's say series got values of 100, maybe like say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and let me print S1. Now you can see basically having series with indexes 0 to 8 and with values of 1 to 9. Okay, let's not take 9, let's just take till 8 so that we can have different indexes between them. So we are basically having series S1 with indexes ranging from 0 to 7 with the values are ranging from 1 to 8. Now let's say we want to use this particular S1 series to place it into the new column. So we'll just say data underscore df, and we'll put this series values into a new column says series column, and we'll assign it using S1 as a series. So what are we doing? We are basically creating a new column, say series column, and into the values that we are trying to place into that new series column are from S1 series. And we'll print this data underscore data frame, and we'll run that. Now you can see it basically placed 0 index value from series into 0 index value, 0 index position of the data frame. So first 0 index 1 got placed in here, first index 2 got placed in here, and so on. And as we are not having 8th index in our series, so that is not being taken in. So it's just another number. In that way, you can basically get the values into the series. Then the next one is deleting column. Okay. Now, let's say we want to delete any particular column from this data frame. How we can do that? We'll just see. So what we'll do, we'll just use a del function to delete any column in our data frame. So we'll just use del and which column you want to delete. So you want to delete data underscore df's data frame, new column that I've created. So this particular new column I want to delete. Okay. So I'll just say new column, and this will basically delete it. Now let me print data underscore df, and now you can see that new column is no longer available for us. Using del function, you can delete this any particular column. Any doubts as of now? All right, so let's just quickly summarize what I've learned in this session. So we first basically look into what is a data frame, how we can create a data frame, as well as we've created a data frame by reading it from a clipboard. Then we've seen how can we display column names, and then we've seen how can we access any particular column or multiple columns, as well as we've seen how we can access any data point that we have in a data frame. Then we've looked into creating a new column. Then we've looked into head functions and tail functions of the data frame. And then we've seen how can we assign values to the data frame directly from array as well as from a series. Then we've finally seen how we can delete a column in a data frame.
Just to add to that, you can also use the drop function to delete a column. It says like data frame name dot drop, and within brackets you specify the column name and give access equal to 1. And that will also delete the columns that you specify.
Any questions or doubts as of now? All right, guys, and thank you. That's all I planned for today.